Hello and welcome to this edition of the Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Live Here, Love Here's Adopt a Spot scheme and how people can get involved. And to talk about this, we have from the Ards Canal Pathway Community Group, Lara Curry. Lara, you're very welcome to the Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful podcast.
Hello.
Lara, just tell us a wee bit about how you got involved with litter picks and what motivated you to take action.
Well, I noticed online on Facebook that the Bangor beach cleaners were going to do a litter pick local to me, very close by, an area that I walk every day, and I knew that it needed cleaned, but I had no idea how to get involved to do that sort of thing. I went on a litter pick with them, had a great time, met up with Noreen, another lady who was doing the same thing from Ards, getting involved. We didn't know how to do this. And following that litter pick, had a look online and discovered the Adopt a Spot scheme and signed up, and that's how we started.
Okay. And how many of you, are there many of you out and about doing these type of events?
Noreen and I would be out at least once a week for about 2 hours on the litter pick. COVID restricted us greatly during those lockdowns. And as we sort of came out of that gradually, we were able to have more and more people join us. The most we've had on a group litter pick would be about 15 in that area.
Mm-hmm. And tell me this here, how did you come across Live Here, Love Here? What was it that brought you in to the scheme and more importantly, the Adopt a Spot scheme?
It was really to find out how to get involved at a local level. A lot of the guys in the Bangor beach cleaners have been doing it for a while. They were saying, have a look at this, have a look at that. They were giving us options to have a look at. Did my research and signed up for the Adopt a Spot scheme. As a result of that started initially with myself litter picking once a week along the Canal path. And I realised that it was a bit bigger than just myself. And then I discovered about the small grant scheme and how we could make the improvements that needed to be done. And everything sort of snowballed from there. Noreen came on board with me. We went from one person, me, litter picking, to two, to a community group basically formed on the back of the support from Live Here, Love Here.
And how important has that structure been that Adopt a Spot provides? How important has that been for your group in being able to go out and actually help the community?
Mm-hmm. The structure has been brilliant and the support has been brilliant. The fact that we're recognised as doing something, under a scheme, as part of a scheme, people are very happy to stop and chat to us. They see the logos on our high vis that everybody's really interested and quite excited about the whole scheme in the area. And I think we've resulted in a few other people signing up for the Adopt a Spot. It's been fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you were mentioning there about small grants as well, which is another important part of the program. I mean, just in terms of what was it you applied for and how has the scheme been helpful for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, what we realised is we look after an area that's basically a walkway. It was from point A to point B. People weren't paying attention to it, which is one of the reasons why it was so heavily littered. The historic litter there was frightening, and it's always sort of been treated that way. We wanted to draw attention to what is actually there, the water, the birds, the trees. So we came up with the idea of installing 3 benches along the path. Just to encourage people to stop and sit, spend a bit of time and, connect with their surroundings, realise what's there, and still a wee bit of pride in it. And it has worked. So, they're in 2 weeks and the feedback we're getting is fabulous. We couldn't have done it without the support of the scheme. You can have all these great ideas, but to have an organisation to back you, support you and help you make them happen is great.
And Lara, you were talking there a wee bit about community pride and about being able to instill that in the community. Well, how have you found that, like, actually being out there and what impact has something is that could maybe come across as a wee bit small, like installing a bench somewhere for people to sit. How important has that been?
It's been great for the people who who walk that area. One of the first feedback points we got that we hadn't really thought about was that people are actually feeling safer in the area and are happy to spend more time there. We had put some just little window boxes, plastic window boxes that we had attached to a wooden fence at the entrance, and we planted our own plants. But walkers on the path started to ask us where they could put their plants. Mm-hmm. So it's turned into a little sort of community garden. You know, the people who use the path are nearly in competition with each other now for how big their planters are, how many flowers are in it, and everybody just is really enjoying it. There's a bit of a buzz about it too. It's a nice place to be.
And has it, I mean, in terms of actually, you're talking about there about the friendly competition that can come out of that, is it, is this something that you're seeing spreading across the community and that more and more people are getting involved?
I think more and more people are definitely appreciating this particular area. And on the back of what we did on the Canal path, actually a friend started his own adopt-a spot at the other side of the canal in Londonderry Park. So he's adopted that spot. Noreen has adopted the floodgates, and she does her picks there, which is the far side of the canal. So there's 3 different schemes all linked together, and just providing that real sort of little beacon nearly. You know, people are loving seeing the results, and the feedback is great.
Yeah, and you were mentioning there about the feedback that you're getting there. I mean, in terms of the community aspect of it,
yes.
How from your experience, are you seeing people, you know, because obviously with COVID-19, the pandemic, there's been a lot of isolation. You know, obviously people have had to stay apart as things have eased. People are coming back together again. Yeah. I mean, in terms of the feedback you're getting, is that something that people who are taking part in the Adopt a Spot scheme and your local area, is that something that they're valuing?
Absolutely. At the start of lockdown, people really couldn't get out, weren't being able to socialise, weren't seeing their friends. And nature was one of the things that people sort of did connect with. They couldn't connect with each other, but they were making this connection with nature and being outside. And I think what makes this little area unique is now people are out. They are coming along on our litter picks. They're loving getting to meet other people and connect with the nature at the same time. It's a really good combination.
And obviously because, you know, it's people, when they see a grant scheme or they see a scheme like Adopt a Spot, may think, oh, is that really for me? Is that maybe too much work? Is it hard to apply for? I mean, what was your experience of actually applying, joining, and being able to be part of it?
I would encourage anybody to go for it. I'm in my 50s, haven't done anything like this ever before, was sort of initially quite daunted by the whole prospect of applying for a grant. But Live Here, Love Here have been fabulous. And through the small grant scheme, they had a webinar. So you could log on, learn about the application process, see what evidence you needed to provide. They guide you step by step through it. You know, they want you to be able to do this, and they want you to get the results. So the whole process was very easy, very friendly, and came out with a great result for us. Fantastic.
And you were talking about some random historic litter that you've been coming across. Just if you could just tell our listeners a wee bit about how bad one was the problem, and how have you been able to tackle that and achieve change?
The problem was immense in this area. There's a gap sort of between a metal fence and a wooden fence that's about a metre wide, and that had been used as basically a landfill, dumping, chuck everything over the fence for, we reckon, close to 20 years. So we cleared over a period of about 6 weeks, we cleared in excess of 56 bags of litter just from that small area. So when we climbed over the fence, we're actually standing on litter, and you could hear the tins crunching, tin cans, crisp packets. We had a crisp packet from 2002. That was one of our earlier ones. 2002. it's just horrendous. The plastic was there, and plants had started to grow around it at some stages. Mm-hmm. So, it was pretty bad. But we persevered, got it all cleared with a lot of help, and just to see that sort of nature come back into that once the plastic was gone.
Yeah, and you were referencing that earlier about wildlife, and I'm a bit intrigued by that. What are you seeing there today that wasn't there before?
We certainly didn't have the bird activity that we have now, because we didn't have the amount of wildflowers for the insects, for the birds. I think we've made a vital link in all of that. Mm-hmm. We've cleared things away. Birds can forage among leaves now, which they weren't able to do. It was plastic. We put up bird feeders to encourage them into the area. We have, by stopping the litter actually going into the water, we've impacted the quality on the actual canal as well. And this year there's been bumper numbers of mallard ducks. We even had a really rare sighting of a goosander bird on the canal about a week ago. Mm-hmm. So evidence that there's fish life there just by stopping the plastic.
Yeah,
everything else is coming back.
Yeah, it sounds like you're having a massive impact on the thing. And again, I think when we talk about the environment, it's easy to feel a bit overwhelmed by the scale of the challenge. But interestingly, by just doing a simple thing of taking part in Adopt a Spot, taking part in a small grant, you've been able to achieve massive change in the local area and bringing new all sorts of new positive activity back to your local area.
We have indeed, and it staggers us sometimes. We have to look back at photographs of what it was before, just to remind ourselves, because the way it is now is the way it always should have been, and everyone loves it, everyone enjoys it, and you do nearly forget the journey that it took to get there, the blood, sweat, and tears that all of us went through, but support from Live Here, Love Here, from the local council who've been fantastic with us in helping us clear away. The volume of litter was massive at the start, and their cleansing team helped us. Everybody's got on board with it. Everybody can see the results, and it's such a rewarding thing to do.
And you led very nicely on to my next question. You were talking about it being a very rewarding thing to do, and something that totally. How much of it has gone from being something that was something that you were just keen to do, and how much of it now is just part of your general social life and part of your day-to-day kind of, or your weekly kind of activities?
It has totally become part of just what we do. Like Noreen and I would be out every Saturday for about 2 hours. There's people in the local community know we're going to be there, so they make sure they're there to have a wee chat. So there's that whole social aspect that people know we're there and want to talk to us, which is great. We have we've put on like an educational moth night where we had a local moth expert come down actually on the canal, invite people from the local community come and have a look, see what's there. It's just going from strength to strength. We have bigger plans, better plans. I think it's something we're going to stick with for a long time.
Yeah, just on that, what are your future plans? It sounds like you've got some real momentum behind you right now, and it sounds like that this is something that is just getting bigger and better all the time. So what are your future plans with it?
What we plan to do is really highlight this area as a local nature reserve in the centre of the town. There's huge development at the minute, which is going to lead to even more waste. There's about 170 homes to go up within the next few years in this area, just alongside where we're operating. So we want to bring people in, make them aware of how to look after this space, how important it is. We've more events planned, more nature nights, bring people together from the community down there to see what's about. Bat detectors are another way. We just want people to connect with that area, see how important it is to keep it the way that it is now, and not let development just turn it back to what it was.
Yeah, and Lara, obviously there'll be some people listening to this and think about, how do you make time for this? How do you get involved? Have you found that that's an easy thing to do, and I know you've said it's worthwhile to do, but
yeah.
But have you found that that's an easy thing to do?
Initially, it wasn't easy. We both work full time. We both have families and houses to run. But when it's as important, once you see how important it is, that's when it becomes easy, because it's just you make the time for it. We know when we're going to do it. It's part of what we do, and because it's on our doorstep, we're there every day. We walk it every day. It just really becomes part of what you do. You just fall in love with it. It's a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah, and it's something that's obviously transforming your community. Lara, thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us here on the Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful podcast, and for sharing your experiences of Adopt a Spot and the small grant scheme. And if you're interested in taking part, like Lara and her merry band, you can visit the Live Here Love Here website for more information on Adopt a Spot and the small grant scheme. It's all there on the website. Lara, thank you for taking part today.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for listening to the Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful podcast. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can be reminded of future episodes.